Everybody here? Alright guys, hope you had a good break. We have our next speaker, Satheesh. Satheesh works at ProAir as a security architect, doing a lot of work with software development teams. And the team that he happens to work on work extensively on AngularJS. So his talk is going to be about his experiences working with those teams and what kind of code that he reviews on a day-to-day basis and what kind of pitfall that he finds and recommends people not to do those kind of things. Yeah, is that good enough introduction? All right, here, go ahead.
Okay, so do we have any Angular developers? Sorry? AngularJS developers? Only very few of them. So yeah, I'm a security architect at ProAir, and what I do is like mostly do code reviews and review the code the developers write, and also do VAPT on the same. I have been doing security for the past 6 years. I'm OCP certified. Slides. And these are the agendas that we have for today. So AngularJS has templates, and like for any frameworks we have templates. In AngularJS, it sort of applies to any framework. Like whenever you have any user contents, I do not bind it directly to the Angular templates because it might create issues like cross-site scripting. Do you guys know about Angular expressions? The curly braces that you put in your stuff. So I'm going to talk about a few Angular expression bypasses, and then I have a few demos, and then a few best practices. Right? So never use user supplied inputs in your Angular templates. Okay? And this is the most common pitfall that developers fall for. Like they pick some input from the user, and in the server side they create the templates and then they put it there. Okay?
So yeah, I didn't get user input as a template. What does it mean?
Yeah, so you get some values from the user, web applications, and then at the server side, when you dynamically create the templates, you should never feed in the values inside the templates. Your template should never be framed or should never be from the user input.
Why? What is it?
Oh, so if you're doing it, you should probably sandbox it, like making sure that it doesn't have any things like the script. You should properly sanitize the data before you feed it into the templates.
So good. You seem to use the sanitize framework for that?
Yeah, the data should be sanitized before you feed it in there, into the expressions. And we have a few demos that we will see, and that will, I hope will give more clarity on that. Okay. So these are the common methods that we use to feed in your user content. Okay. So when you're using any of these contents, make sure that you use it cautiously. Do sanitization before you feed the data into these methods. Okay, and yeah, these are again some more expressions to it. Use these things be cautious whenever you use these sort of methods. Yeah, so Angular has this filter. So whenever you're using filters, make sure that you don't use something like this. Like when you use order by, do not pass it from the user input.
No, but if it is needed, then you need to sanitize that also?
Yeah, you will sanitize that. Yeah, so probably I'll quickly jump into the demo. So I thought I'll develop a demo application, but then there's a guy called Kevin who already wrote this thing. It's called NGOR. I thought I'll reuse it. So basically, if you take is the text clearly visible even for the folks in the last row? Yeah. Okay. So let's take for example this the expression that you see over there, the first one. If this is the expression that you feed it, and if you use different methods like ngbind, this is how it will get rendered into. Okay, when you use ng non-bindable, it will be like that. The thing that you can see over there. Okay. And when you sanitize it, this is what you see. It will strip off certain characters in it. The script tag would be, if you notice, the script tag is kind of stripped off. Okay. And when you use ngbind HTML, it does stripping off the certain characters in there, and this is what you see. Okay. When you use trust me, sanitize and then ngbind HTML, then also you're safe. The issue comes in when you use something like this, SCE trust us HTML and then ngbind HTML. So when you say this thing, SCE trust us HTML, what you're saying is you're saying the Angular framework trust whatever that you have in the string that I'm passing, trust it as HTML. So it will not invoke its own its sanitization part into it. So and if you bind it in there, you will have an access.
Can you take class?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, clear.
Is method part of the AngularJS, or it is some separate library?
Yeah, SE is a library that you can import.
Okay.
Sanitization is a library that you can import. Yeah, so this is about the binding part, and you have certain things in impersonate, interpolate. So I've seen in certain places in the application that I reviewed, certain places they pick certain stuff from the database, and that has some HTML content, but then they are not quite sure of how to handle it, and they used just HTML. And then they were using ngbind HTML, and then it was causing cross-site issues on this side. Okay, is it clear enough, guys?
So,
Yeah.
can you explain that scenario how
Which one?
you are seeing, right?
There's the one that I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, so suppose you take some input, let's say it is some sort of a commenting system, let's say. So you put in a few HTML tags into it, okay, and then you store it as is in the database, and then you pick that value from the database and use SE trust as HTML and feed that content from the database to that, the comment that you have in HTML, and then you use ngbind HTML. In that case, you will be on. Okay, so what you have to do in that case is like you have to use you should not use trust as HTML. You feed the HTML content, Angular sanitization would be invoked, and applying defense in depth techniques. You should also sanitize the inputs that you're getting it from your client side before you store it in your database.
So sometimes we allow user to input HTML.
Yeah. So if you notice there, the initial stuff that you have over here, this was the initial content. So this was the initial content. So treat that as your HTML. And if you go over here and you use ngbind HTML, your HTML is sort of is still there, but then the malicious part is sort of being stripped off. You get it, right?
So sometimes we used to contribute that kind of script, not alert, but some JavaScript will be there in my code snippet or HTML. So I want to allow that.
So if you want to allow that, then I recommend that you probably generate a hash out of it, and then specify the hash, and then CSPs you can like specify the hash of the script that you want to execute, and then probably invoke that. In your runtime, it will check for the hash. If it is matching, then the script will execute. Else it will not execute. You could do something.
But it's CSP, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what CSP is?
Yeah. So I have few
CSP.
slides for that.
Okay. All right.
Probably
Fine.
I'll talk later. So here, so interpolate. So if you notice, this string would be interpreted in these two places. Okay. So if we use update here, the string would be updated here, and the link you might be able to see at the bottom. Okay. So if I update something like this, let's say. So if you notice, nothing happens. But when you give trusted, then when I update, it would actually throw it. It would actually create an access. If you notice, there's an exercise that has been triggered. It happens when we use trusted into the interplay. So Angular also has this translate. Like it helps whenever you are building an application and you want to cater to clients in different locations and they use different locations, different languages. Then Angular also has this functionality called translate. So you define your translations in your client side, and it'll make things easier. The translation part will be handled. Okay, so
just to understand,
yeah.
In this scenario, you remove the error part, right? Whatever the script was. If I'm not trusting it,
Yeah, if you're not trusting it,
it will remove, right?
yeah, it'll be step off.
So
The sanitization would kick in.
So only it will happen for alert or other function also?
Oh, any kind of script.
Any
kind of script.
Any kind of script.
But alert
All
is
script will
all script. Alert is something that we use to show something visible to the user. But you can do anything.
Yeah, you can
It will be something. It will our client framework or some function call will not work in that case, right?
Sure, your functionality might break,
Yeah.
but then you would have to figure out how to implement that functionality in a secure way. By not using trusted. But if you're using trusted, then you need to make sure the input that you get from the user, you either sanitize it or escape by some other kind of mechanism.
So sanitize, does it just encode HTML or JavaScript or?
Yeah, so it encodes certain times and it also strips off certain things.
I have some different questions as a developer. So whatever you're showing is in client side, right? Is it better to do all these things on the server side itself, because as it might be stored in the database?
Yeah, it makes sense.
So makes sense. Then pass the thing in the client. There is another aspect.
So you're saying we should be doing all these things in the server side?
In server side.
Yeah. So we should be doing that. This is defense in depth techniques. You do it as multiple layers.
This client-side validation can be bypassed.
Yeah, makes because there is certain libraries also to the server side itself that you can implement.
So is it clear, guys? So we'll move on. And then I'll probably show you the code also. So here I have the code for this thing that I'm demoing. Okay, so for the translate, yeah. So for the interpolate example that we saw, this is the HTML code we have. Zoom out. Yeah, so if you notice here, I'm also passing the trusted into the interpolate. That's when you saw the script executing. Okay, so in here we're gonna look at the translate and the Angular translate. So the first example in the first example that you see over here, I have this string called Kevin. Okay, and I'm like using Angular translate for translating the content, and I'm specifying trust. So in this case, what happens is like whatever string that you provided, it would be like trusted as HTML. Okay, so if you notice, if you mouse over, you see an alert popping up. So again, this is, I mean here we have this mouse over as an example, but this could be anything to steal your cookies or any sort of process. Okay. It can even lead to your CSR bypasses. So you guys know what CSR is, right? Yeah, cross-site request forgery.
How many more minutes do you need, Satheesh?
How many do I have?
15 tops.
I think I can finish it.
Okay, all right.
So can we guys?
Is it okay if I park some questions? Let's say there's some questions asked, and then we don't have time to talk about it right now, but we could do it during lunch. Yeah, is that okay? Or I'll pass you some sticky notes. Put your questions in there so you remember. Yeah, that's okay?
Yeah.
Here, can I throw it? And for the last one. Sorry. Oh my God. Shouldn't have done that. So I'll pass it from now on. Here. Could you pass this?
Okay, so we'll move on. The next stuff. Okay, so this is a blog about the Angular expression bypasses. I'll quickly open that, and I hope on the same slide. So if you scroll down at the bottom of it, so these are the list of the sandbox bypasses. Okay, so if you look at the versions, it's 1.0.1 to 1.1.5, and if you and then they passed the first thing, and then the second one came in. That one was passed, and then the third one came in. So it was going on and on. So finally, they decided that they'll take off the sandbox. So that's why from Angular 1.6 on, if you use any client, any value from your client without sanitization into your Angular expressions, your application will be vulnerable. Okay, so the sandbox part has been skipped, right?
So if I use double curly braces, I would still be vulnerable?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you are using
1.6 and above.
Yeah, 1.6 and above. Yeah, so that's about it for this. And then, do you guys build applications, right? Do you have CSR of implementations? Like, if so, how do you implement that with Angular?
The Docker is taking care of implicit frameworks.
Yeah, but at the client side, you have to handle those tokens, right? How do you handle those tokens?
Token was
Sorry, the CSR token here.
we only implement HTTPS
Okay.
and server side authentication.
Okay.
They use the authentication token.
Okay. So you don't have any CSR protection.
It's there, but I'm not actually. there is XSRF token in AngularJS.
Yeah. So how do you implement that?
I think there's some function issue just have to true or false. You just have to input that.
Okay. So, but wait, how do you generate the tokens?
It is located in the server, and it from the
Okay.
code we will get it from
Okay.
the client
So,
side.
okay. So there are multiple ways that they do it. Like one is your at the server side, you might generate unique tokens for every request, and then you could at the Angular side, you could add a custom header, and then put those values there. And that's one way. And other way is like they put it in the post, like in the request body, as part of the request body, and then send it across. Okay. So yeah, these are the ways that they implement it. I've seen application lists being implemented in these ways, and few issues that I've seen is that few places I've seen double submit cookies. Like you have a cookie that the server side server generates, and you use that cookie in your client side, and you also put it in your the same cookie. You'll have it in your cookie header, cookie part, and then you also have a custom header along with the value of the CSRF token you have. You send it across. So by so what happens in that case is like when you add a custom header, other domains cannot add custom header for a request that is going to another domain, okay, for a different domain. So in that case, same origin policy will not allow you to do that. So if you are adding that, you say, but you have to properly validate the token that you are receiving the server side.
But why do you store the token in the AngularJS? Is in the client side?
So it's not we are not storing it, but then like the server to send the token, we have to probably put in the interceptor for every request. The interceptor would be invoked, and it will add the tokens and then send it across. So it's not like we are storing anything in there, but just that how we handle the tokens.
This interceptor is a client side or
Yeah, the client side. Yeah, client side.
So you say
So
that like JWT
Okay.
that we generate to the
Yeah.
server side and send to the client for the creation.
Sure. The thing is, you have a server that needs to validate your request, right? And the client is the one that's making the request. So the client has to give some kind of token for that specific request. And that's why you need to store it. And in this case, we're not storing it in any kind of local storage or web storage, but then making sure that every time that we request, we're sending a token. And the token in this case, in case of CSRF, is often called as anti-CSRF token. Okay, and we need to send that to every request. And the server will validate, did I send this token? Yeah, it's a valid token. So I will respond to this request. But more questions later. I'm sorry. We're running out of time.
Yeah, so if you have any questions, make a note of it and we'll discuss it later. Yeah. And web storage security. So I've seen Angular applications storing sensitive information in their local storage. So there are two things: local storage and the session storage. The session storage will be valid until the session is there. Your local storage will still be there even when you let's say you close up your browser and your session is invalidated. It will still be there. So you have to handle those things properly. So do not put anything sensitive in your local storage or your session storage. If in case you have to do that, implement proper encryption mechanism for that. But then there is also this discussion of where you put the keys and all those things. Yeah, so we'll if we have queries on that, we'll discuss the topic. Yeah, so clear all web storage as and when your session is expired. So what you can do for this thing is that in your interceptor, whenever request receives 401 response, then you can it means that your session is being gone, so you can clear off the storage. Right? Yeah. So you can also use security headers. Have SSDS, you guys use this setup? Yes. So when you have this header enabled, all your communication will be over HTTPS. And you can also use public key pinning along with that, and you can also use CSP. Angular has its own CSP in it. So for you to enable that, you have to in the HTML tag when you use in the app, and along with that you also can specify in the CSP. Okay. So Angular has CSP in it as well.
So Satheesh, are they Angular specific controls? I mean, these things that you're saying, are they specific to AngularJS?
Yeah, these are not specific to Angular.
But they're general in respect to web security.
Yeah, but see, Angular has its own CSP in it.
Okay.
So I thought I would talk about it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah,
So I mean, this is a really easy and simple way of implementing web security controls. So if you have questions on these things, we'll do a next talk on our next iteration. Yeah? But because if we deep dive into this, it's going to be an hour-long talk, at least by itself.
Okay, so I'll stick to the Angular CSP part. So Angular has its own CSP implementation, so you can define your checksums for your scripts, and then it will only execute if the checksum matches. Okay. And also one more thing to note is like if you enable Angular CSP, then there will be it will take 30% of more resources because it's going to sanitize stuff in your code. So then there will also be a performance hit associated with that. Okay. Yeah. So other security considerations. Always use strict contextual escaping, and you could use retire.js. Retire.js is a library that you can use it to find libraries that you use that has known vulnerabilities in it. Okay, so you could also, as Madhu said, like you could integrate it into your CI/CD pipeline, and then you'll be notified if there is any library that exists with the known vulnerability, and also use good static code analysis for auditing your code. For code auditors. I forgot the name of it. I'll get the name for you. Okay, so these are the references, and that's it, guys. Any questions?
Is this specific to Angular 1x or 2x?
Yeah, this one is more specific to Angular 1x. So most of the application that I have reviewed is mostly to 1. Yeah, so it's specific to one. But I looked at the documentation of Angular 2. Certain things, there are more functions to it, but the concept sort of remains the same.
So the security policy?
More or less. There are a few variations in it, and Angular 2 is not backward compatible with the older version. So there are a few changes, but core concept to some extent remains the same.
So concept regarding two things. One is the security policy, and the other is the escaping that you said for the classes. So do they remain same for Angular 2 as well? Or?
No, I haven't experimented with that. But I just gone through the documentation. Looking at it, it seemed to be something similar, but I didn't deep dive into it. Most of the applications that I've seen are still the older version. So do you guys use the latest Angular? Okay. Yeah, I think it's good that you start with that. The new one. Okay. So because the projects that I was into, they were started a little earlier, and they didn't have the time to migrate. So because of the backward compatibility issues. Yeah.
No, it's actually funny. Big companies, if you want to start working on a new technology that's out there for 2 years, the architects don't give you a go-ahead to implement it. They want the technologies to standardize for 5 years and 6 years, get enough support, and then they will do the migration. And this is the reason for it.
Okay. So any more questions? Yeah.
So how do you look for AngularJS vulnerability? Because when you test application, you have problems map of code, right?
Yeah.
It is very difficult to go with static code analysis. So I saw a lot of pen testers, they use time testing, they put a debugger in each and every line of code, each and every line of the code, and they can look out which technique should we follow? Yeah, means any kind of continuous integration with these kind of things running, or there is a deployment for something, we will change.
So what do you do on a daily basis, Satheesh? Why don't you say?
What I do is like I have certain strings that I look for in the code, and I do a grab of the code, the entire code, and if I get anything, and I'll look into it.
So it is easy if you have like 100 or 200 line of code, but if you face application where you have thousands line of code.
Yeah, but basically what I do is I do a grab of, let's take for example SE test as HTML. I do a grab of that in the code, in the entire code, even if it is like 2000 lines, it's going to get me that. So I'm going to look at that code and see from where it's getting the data, how the data is, those sort of things. So that's how I do it.
Because I put the debugger every time.
Okay.
Again, it's again very difficult. Static code analysis I think never worked for me.
Okay.
When I test the